Okay, here we are continuing with the minimal sets. From last time, we know that whenever we reach a number that's greater than 4, we can reduce the number of blocks or pieces that we are using with the manipulatives to obtain a minimal set. So as you can see here, if we're given 8 units, then because that number is greater than 4, so we can rewrite that, or we can represent the same amount of units, 8 units, with fewer pieces. So now the way that we are going to do is to work with the manipulatives. First, we are going to just draw 8 pieces, right? 8 tiny square with 8 units. So first, we are going to do that here. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we have 3 more. Yeah, so that's 5 units. There are 3 more, so together we have 8 units. Now, remember that whenever we see 5 units together, we can stack them, and then we can put that as a long. So we are going to do that here. So we're going to put those 5 units together, and then we are gaining 1 long. And now, this is more like trading 5 units for a long, just like when you're exchanging for money. So if you give 10 $1 bills to other people, and then that person can give you a $10 bill. So that's, we're doing the same thing here. So now what do we get? We have 1 long and 3 units left, right? We actually didn't touch those 3 units, but those 5 units are gone and we gain 1 long. So now there is no other way that we can represent 8 units with fewer than 4 pieces, so this would be the minimal set. Now, how do we write down the number? Once we obtain the minimal set, then we can start writing down the base 5 numeral. So we have 1 long here, so that's when we put the 1. And then we have 3 units, right? So we are going to put 1, 3. And then, of course, we got to put the subscript, otherwise it will be a 13 in the base 10. So that's our answer. So that's a minimal set. Now let's look at another example. So this time we are having 6 longs and 14 units. First, let's draw them and see what's going on. So we have 6 longs. So first, let's draw 5 longs, and then we draw 1 more long here. The reason for why I'm putting it this way is because I'm going to regroup. As you can see, every time we reach 5, then we're going to regroup that into a larger place value piece, which will be turning those 5 longs into a flat. But before that, let's finish drawing all the pieces that we have. So we have 14 more units here, right? So let's draw that. So we have 14. Again, we are going to put the 5, each time we are going to put the 5 pieces together. So that's 10 blocks. And then, of course, there are 4 more units, so we need to put 4 more units here. Okay, so that's 6 longs and 14 units. We are going to start with the units, and we are going to move to a larger place value. So we're starting from the small and move to larger place values. So first, we are going to do the regrouping. Here we can regroup those 5 units into a long. Right, so we are gaining 1 long here, and then now we can also regroup, also stack those 5 units together, and we are gaining another long. So we have 2 longs, and there was no way that we can regroup those 4 units and gain 1 long, right? That's not possible. So we are just going to have just those 4 units. Now let's look at the longs that we have. We have 5 longs here and 3 longs here, so it's more than 4. So we can regroup those 5 longs into a flat. Now let's do that. And here I'm using a different color so that we are going to get a flat. Yeah. So if you look at the number of flats and longs and units, you can see that there is no other ways of regrouping, so that would be the minimal set. So we are ready to write down the base 5 numeral. So we first start with the largest place value, right, when we write down the number from left to right. So we have 1 flat, so we're going to put 1 flat here, and then we have 3 longs, right? So 1, 3, and we have 4 units left, so we have 1, 3, 4, base 5. Yeah, see that this number represents the number of flats, right? This number in the middle represents the number of longs that we have, and then this 4 here represents that the number of units that we have here. So we have 4 units. So that's a minimal set, and the number is written as 134 base 5. Now let's look at one more example which requires more regrouping. And yeah, so let's look at this one. This one we have 2 flats and 15 longs. So that's actually a lot of pieces. Together we have 17 blocks, but it's possible to, as you can see, this is too many longs, right? So we can rewrite that as a minimal set. So let's first draw those. So we have 2 flats, right? So 2 flats, and then we have 15 longs, right? So that's a lot. Let's draw this. So 5 longs in the group, because we are going to regroup them anyway, so it's not a good idea to draw another long here. And then, so let's continue. This is, let me see, this is 15, right? So 1 more here. So now we're ready to do the regrouping. First, as I said from the previous example, we are going to start from a smaller place value, or the other pieces with smaller place value. So we are going to regroup the longs. So that will give you 1 flat, right? So we are going to gain 1 flat here. And actually this one will give you another flat, right? Because that's 5 longs, so 1 more here. And then now those 5 longs, we can also regroup them. And then we gain 1 more flat. How many flats do we get? We have 5 flats. It looks like there are so few pieces, but again, this is still not a minimal set, because whenever we have more than 4 pieces, then that cannot be a minimal set. So we are going to group those 5 flats together and then turn it into a long flat. Yeah, so let's do that. So all this, we're trading them in, and then we are going to gain a long flat. I think the arrow is at the wrong spot, right? So let me redraw that arrow. Yeah, so we have 1 long flat. How many blocks do we use to represent 2 flats and 15 longs? We actually only use 1 block, so this is a minimal set. There was no, you cannot use 0, right? You cannot use fewer than 1 piece or 1 block to represent that. So this is the minimal set. And how do we write down this number? Let's take a look at this. So we have no units, and we have no longs, we have no flats, and we only have 1 piece, which is a long flat. So we have 1 long flat, no flats, no longs, and no units. So that would look like the number 1000 in our base 10. So, but this is a base 5 numeral, so we have 1000 base 5. Yeah, so that's the end of example 4. And next time we are going to do addition. Thank you for watching.